Hi. In a previous Stuzzichini, I spoke to you about the perception of Italians in Italy, and I mentioned that there wasn't as much going on, or I implied that there wasn't as much going on intellectually as there should be. I want to speak to you briefly this time about the representation of Italian Americans in cinema. I want to make reference briefly to a film made in Italy called My Name Is Toninho, in which Italian Americans, I have to say, are not very well represented. There is, in fact, a total, how can we say, not only a stereotyping that takes place, but a really sort of, the Italians are really sort of ridiculed. And I think while it's true we need to be able to laugh at ourselves, it just seems to me that every character that is Italian American in My Name Is Toninho, whom the main character, Tonino, meets in Providence, Rhode Island, are all stereotypes to the exaggerated, of the exaggerated kind. What I would like people to think about instead is some of the more recent cinema here in the United States made by Italian Americans. And I want to mention some films that perhaps some of you have not seen and some that you have. Of course, Nancy Savoca's True Love and Nancy Savoca's Household Saints are two movies that belong to that new Italian-American cinema, that cinema that we, in fact, here a year ago featured with our film festival. There's the film that came out a little bit over a year ago called Canvas, in which Italian-Americans are the main characters. Even though the film isn't about Italian-American themes, we do see Italian-Americans as the main characters, and it deals with actual issues that across all communities, and that of mental health. Another film that I think is worth seeing that has its own Italian-American signage, let's say, or Italian-American imagery on the sidelines, though the title is blatantly Italian-American, is entitled Puccini for Beginners by Maria Maggenti. These are some of the films. But I want to also mention another called A Mexicano. A Mexicano is a movie that came out only last year that deals with an Italian-American, unemployed Italian-American who befriends a so-called illegal alien, who befriends a Hispanic. And it is that relationship between the two of them that is really the basis of the film, and how this relationship grows, and how the Italian and the Hispanic, sort of the Italian-American and the Hispanic come together, and how really those identities sort of blur in some ways. That is very germane to what's going on today in this world. And as I spoke to you before about the Gian Antonio Stella article, and how he uncovered these, how the Corriere della Sera actually uncovered these articles by Eugenio Balzan, written at the beginning of the century, the beginning of the 20th century, about what was going on in Canada. Here we have a film that made in 2007, 2008, that deals with the same issues. So it's something we just need to keep on the forefront as we discuss the whole immigration situation, both here in the United States, even though they're not Italians, as well as what's going on in Italy today as far as immigration to Italy. And with that, I'll leave you with those few thoughts to ponder, and I say see you next time. Arrivederci alla prossima puntata.